Welcome to Live at the Space at 100th Taylor, and today we have one of the shining jewels of folk, alternative folk, in Nashville and the United States, Maya De Vitri. Hey Maya.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Thanks for coming.
Having me.
Yeah, absolutely. What a pleasure. You know, we've been here almost a year, and like we run around in circles with like some of mutual friends, and everyone just raves about you.
Aww.
Like Rachel, Bayman, friend of our show, who you've written songs with. Your DNAs are all over this town, so like really, really excited like to have you finally here and meet you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I like that idea. Your song DNAs.
Oh, it's pretty much all over the city in a good way, in the best of ways. And yeah, got to see you at Americana Fest. You rose the roof, like tore the roof of the Brooklyn Bowl. And in research, we saw a bunch of your like performances on YouTube. I could make a set list out of your songs at this point. I think Nothing Else Matters. Nothing Else Matters would be in there. Anyway, I digress. But let's start with this, Maya. The harmonies that you so well do. I mean, we're talking about Simon and Garfunkel, Crosby, Stills and Nash. Why do you think that they disappeared for a while? I feel like people like you are bringing them back. But why do you think that they were gone? They're so beautiful. You do them so well. Why were they gone?
Wow, like why were they gone from music?
Yeah, like from popular music for a minute.
I don't know. I mean, maybe there was like a focus on the melody, the lead singer of the song, and more like background vocals or something. Yeah. But I mean, for me, like I don't know if I could really talk about popular music like of the time, because when I was growing up in like, you know, I was born in 1990, and I was listening to my parents' music. I was listening to like Simon and Garfunkel. I was listening to the band. I was listening to the Beatles. I was listening to like a lot of older music growing up, and like old bluegrass and old country. So to me, it never went away. And you know, like and I was going to a Mennonite church growing up where, you know, people sing in like 3-4 part harmony. Like the services are just like someone's playing piano and everyone's like singing in harmony together to sing a hymn. And so I was just like surrounded by harmonies my whole life in a way. And it just, I don't know. It's one of my favorite parts of music.
It's
amazing.
I
feel like it just, when, you know, I know how to do it. I know how to sing harmony with somebody else. But if I'm like at a show and I see two people singing harmony together, it still feels like magic to me. Like it doesn't even matter if you know how it's happening. It's still magic.
Exactly.
You know,
there's something magical about it. And yeah, I want to ask about you growing up and all that, because it's fascinating. But like when you make a song like Better and Better, for example, just top of my head, when do you know, Maya, that it's ready? Because like it's just so perfectly made. But I was listening to it and I'm like, man, I don't know when Maya says this is the point, because you could tinker. It's just so beautiful, so perfect. How do you know the right place to like say it's ready?
I mean, it sounds like really like, I don't know, like some other dimension or something, but like I usually get like chills, or I usually like have like a physical feeling like that I'm just... A
physical feeling?
Yeah, like a physical feeling that I'm just like, whoa, like that's okay. And like there might still be like one word to change, or like, but when I've like worked a song where I get, you know, I know, okay, this is the chorus and this is how the verses flow and like this is the story, and there's usually, with every song, there's usually a moment of like, it's like a, I don't know, like, just like a physical feeling that it's like I'm on the right track or something.
Like a gut feeling.
Gut feeling.
Unbelievable.
That this is like I guess it's just like it, I don't know, like the song moves me or something. Yeah. And like as if I'm outside of it all of a sudden. Yeah. Where like I'm in it and I'm just like kind of the one, like I feel like I'm just like in there with the chisel or something. And then I like all of a sudden I'm out of it. And I'm just like, whoa.
I love that. Oh my God.
So I don't know.
That's really powerful. I don't think anyone's ever described it
that's
like that.
That's just how, honestly though, like I feel like I get to write songs because I keep showing up, but I don't so many of the songs that I write, I'm like, I don't know that I could ever write that song again. That was just like me showing up at that moment and like channeling something. Yeah. But I don't know that it's like, I don't feel that I like, I don't know. It's very mystical to me.
Yeah, you're very sensitive to stuff, I guess. Yeah, I love that. That's beautifully described, thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, you mentioned you grew up in Pennsylvania. Central PA, we were talking about off camera. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your grandma, because she seems like she was like a fascinating person. So, you know, you didn't come from a musical family per se, but a family that really breathed music.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would say they're a musical family. It's just that I didn't come from a place where people made a living making music, you know, or where it was like music was like, but it was always around me. It was like so my dad's mom, my grandma on that side, she was my piano teacher from the time I was like 7 years old. Sure. And she she composed music on the piano. That was really impactful to me. To like, in my earliest music lessons, my grandmother would, you know, I don't know, like one of the earliest musicians I was around was her, and she was more interested in like making sure that I knew that I could make stuff up on the piano than really reading the notes well. I still struggle with like actually reading the notes on piano. I can do it on violin, but I still just have a mental block about left hand and right hand.
I love that.
On piano, but that was really important because like she would compose a piece every time a grandchild was born, and there were like many of us.
I just want to emphasize that every time a grandchild was born, your grandmother composed a piece on the piano. I just want to double down on that because that is incredible.
Yeah. So that was like, you know, a pretty. It took me a while to like really understand like where some of my urge to like create was from, but it was just right in front of me, you know, and knowing like, oh, here's the little stack, like here's the lullaby she wrote for your sister Monica, here's the lullaby she wrote for Lyle and Nina, and these cousins, and so, and then my dad is super musical, always in local bands and playing gigs, and my mom has a beautiful voice, and they would sit around and sing harmonies together.
Beautiful.
So it was just, it was interesting to go and start seeing concerts as a kid and be like, wow, like, how does this band, like, why do they get to be on stage and like tour from town to town, and how do they do that? Like, because to me, you just played music in your house, and then if there was a nice summer night, you had people over and they like played bluegrass songs and old time songs around the campfire together.
Yeah, like
and then they went home. It was like a social thing. Yeah. So it's been. I've tried to like I never want to lose that part of it. You know, like I never want to lose that. That's for me. Like that's where my music comes from at like in the most earliest, farthest back way. It doesn't come from like, you know, some of the more shiny parts of it. It comes from like, just like gathering and a way to hang out and like singing the same old songs over and over again.
And the funny thing is that's what you're doing because like the city, everybody loves you. Like really everyone, like when you say Maya De Vitri, people just like good person, great heart, great artist. You have friends all over, and you're being authentic, and like the commercial success, you know, has followed. So kudos to you for being authentic, because it tackles both boxes, I guess. Yeah, amazing. So you start playing, you start getting better, violin, the whole thing, and I thought it was great in your story, Maya, you know, about your first CD, right? Because everyone has their first CD that they bought, and they remember, you know, and I mean, but most people's was like, mine was Hanson. You know what I mean? But impactful nonetheless. But like your first CD, you immediately went for the Beatles, for Rubber Soul. Yeah. Not only the Beatles, but you didn't go for like the first couple, like when they were like a boy band. You went for Rubber Soul.
Yeah, I think I just liked the title.
Like what?
I don't know.
Like unbelievable.
It was at Kmart.
It was at Kmart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And tell me a little bit about like discovering that, like Norwegian Wood, and like just like.
Yeah, that was so Norwegian Wood was like that was like definitely one of those moments of like physical reaction to music where you have chills, you feel really moved. Like I remember that I had to like sit down and stop what I was doing and sit down and just like listen over and over, like to the melody, the way that the tones were like interacting. It was just like, I don't know. I vividly remember like just sitting there and like I couldn't get over that song. Like, and I've never even like learned the song properly. I've never actually sat down and properly learned it. It's just still in this like elevated place to me. You know, I think it was also like I didn't know what they were talking about. Like I was a kid. Like I didn't know, like really, I didn't understand like the story, but the language, the way that the story was told was so like, and the melody, it just drew me in. It was special.
You're so sensitive in a good way. I love it. Absolutely.
I am very sensitive.
There's a place in East Nashville that does like the colors. They take like the colors of your energy. I bet yours would be like a rainbow.
Yeah, probably. I'm very sensitive. I'm like
super
raw
cool.
sensitive.
Yeah, probably for good and bad and everything in between.
Totally.
Oh my God, I could talk to you for 17 hours. I can already tell. So I'm gonna have to like cut a million questions that I had. So let me ask about like after high school. So you progressively are amazing. You keep kicking butt musically, but after high school, you turn 18, you graduate, and you do this trip across the country, cross country. You know, sleeping in where you could, playing where you could. But I think it really like marked you as an artist. Did it not?
It did. I mean, I remember sitting in high school and like, you know, you have like your school planner and it has like, ours had like a map of the U.S. so you could learn the state capitals and stuff like in the back of the school planner.
And no one reads.
And and sometimes I would just like, you know, I'd be like writing down my homework assignments and sometimes I'd just like flip to that back page and look at the map and be like, oh, gosh, I just like, what's it like out there? I want to go. Like I want to go to these other places and like, what's the Pacific Ocean like? Or, you know, just like, just dreaming about like, what's like, the Mississippi River, like what's that? You know, and all.
I-40.
Yeah, like totally. Route 66, like what are these places?
Route 66, yeah.
But I was in high school, I was really, really obsessed with classical violin. That was mainly the music I was doing. I was playing in the school orchestra, practicing a lot, trying to get into the other community orchestras and district orchestra and stuff like that. And I wasn't writing songs or anything at that time. And then, after high school, I did this road trip. A friend offered that we could, you know, get in his car, and then I was really good friends with his younger sister, and so it was my friends Corey and Nick and Ellie, and we all just got in the car together, and Corey played guitar, and I was like, well, I play fiddle, like maybe we could
do something,
play some songs along the way.
Your first band.
Our friend, so Nick in the group, he was like, oh, I'll play spoons, like just kind of you know, on his knee, and Ellie would knit. She would like literally knit like beside us, and then she would kind of talk to people if they came up and they were like, what are you kids doing, you know, like who are you, where are you from? And she's like, oh, well, we're from Pennsylvania and we're on a road trip, and she would just kind of talk to people.
That's
and
so
then
cool.
they would like, people would, you know, throw money in the case. We were just busking, like we just kind of fell into doing a busking road trip.
But you were seeing the country, you were growing up.
And like, like seeing the Grand Canyon for the first time, going to the Pacific Ocean, like all the stuff that I'd like seen in that planner.
You were like a different person when you came back.
Oh yeah, I was like, well, it was amazing to like realize that it was one of the first, I think like one of the first like main lessons of being an artist to me, whether it's like songwriting or trying to like have a career where you're playing on stages or something like that, is to show up. And that was like, okay, well, you just have to show up. Like nobody's gonna like go have a road trip for you. Right. Or, like nobody else is gonna write the album. Like you have to write your album.
You have to do it. You have to take ownership.
Like you have to show up. Or nobody's gonna like, you're not gonna write a song unless you sit down and like start like making yourself available to write a song. Sure. And so it just taught me to show up, and also I think just like the element of surprise in music, and like of the power of surprise and how much people like crave music and need music, and like we don't think of it as an essential thing, but we had like amazingly powerful like connections, fleeting connections with people, you know, but just someone like sitting on a bench and watching for a while, or meeting musicians in a certain town and hanging out with them for a day and then passing
Isn't
on.
that amazing, Maya?
And the like the fleeting nature of it, and the impermanence or something. That, I think it was like a taste of getting used to that, which is so much of this life now, where you're like, oh wow, I saw you at this festival like 5 years ago, and here you are now again, or something.
Totally.
And very, very different than like, all right, I'm going to go to the same office every day and see the same people, and kind of, you know. So yeah, just it gave me a taste of what it might feel like. A little bit more. Really
deep things that you're saying, and that's one of the reasons why, even though we haven't really met, like I already like appreciate your soul in many ways, because many people that I love and that I respect and that I know their journeys, and we've all converged 1,000,000,000,000 chances in this city. You know, like they speak well of you and everything, and it's like, okay, well, there's a strand there's a pattern.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's really beautiful what you're saying about energies. Yeah, Maya, cool. All right, let's talk about your new album, Violet Light, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it comes out January 28th of 2022. Okay. Amazing. It's your third as a solo artist?
Yeah.
It's your third as a solo artist.
Yeah.
And the first singles that have come out already are like sick. So
thank you.
If the rest of the songs are like 20% as good, like sweet mother of God, like hold on to your cargo pants, because like amazing songs.
Thank you.
So we were talking about the Pets one earlier. I want to talk about a couple, but let's talk about the Pets one. It's called Dogs Run On. You know, I have a Yorkie. You've had dogs growing up. People love dogs. I think people love dogs more than humans nowadays, but that's another conversation. Where did that brilliant idea come from, to pay homage to dogs, like in a really real way?
Well, so like exactly a year ago, my parents had this dog, Sylvie, and she passed away like last November. And a couple months before that, I thought, you know, we knew Sylvie was sick, and I thought I was going to get a chance to see her again. You know, you always think you're going to get a chance to see somebody again in a way.
Wow.
And like, or at least we're not willing to admit that we might not see somebody again or see a pet again. And you know, it was during the pandemic, and I never got a chance to get back up there. And I wrote a song that was called "Hold On, Sylvie," and it was like just me feeling really sad that I couldn't be there, with my parents, that I couldn't be there with Sylvie, that I like.
How many
really
years was it
didn't get
done
to see
with your parents?
goodbye. She was really young. She was like 7.
Okay.
She had some kind of cancer, and she got sick. Yeah, and so I just didn't. Yeah, so I wrote a song that was just, you know, just kind of me trying to soothe myself, like, and also like speak to the dog. But obviously, I wasn't able to like, you know, play it for her.
Yeah.
She did love music a lot. She would, you know, all the dogs in my life they've always just, you know, if someone's like playing cello, they just come like lay at the foot of the cello, and they just want to be like in the music. But but it's, yeah, so I started writing it, and then she passed away, and I was just like, that's just like, okay, well, that song is not even like, I could have kept that song, but I was like, actually, like, I'm gonna see what else is in the song, or what else is in this feeling and emotion, and it just became like it became me saying, like, when I get home, we'll go to the lake, well, you know, all the things that we would do, and just the way that you think of, like, the way that a dog, you know, if you've gone to a lake many times with a certain dog, or if you've gone to like on a certain hike or a certain stream, and you see the way the dog is moving in that water, or you, like, at my parents' place, you know, it's in Pennsylvania, so it's a little farther north than here, and it snows every winter. and just like seeing, like, so we had a black lab growing up named Georgia,
Yeah.
and then Sylvie was a black lab, and seeing like the black lab like jump in against the snow, and just like that in my mind of that image, and just trying to like pay respects to the I don't know, like the way that dogs remind us to be, I don't know, like better humans or something. Like even like I do dog sitting here in Nashville too, and mostly for friends, but you know, it's just like, oh, time to go outside. Like
it's like an unconditional love thing.
Like it,
you know,
it could, like, it's even like we take better care of ourselves when there's a dog around, because it's like, oh yeah, we should go outside too. Like humans, we should go outside. We should run around. We should play for no reason. We should just go
Fine, let's
run
get some
around.
air, but me too.
Yeah, totally. And totally, the unconditional love is like, yeah, like human love, it definitely feels conditional a lot of the time, and like so divisive, and and dogs are just like, they're just like in this other realm like they let us in, kind of. They let us into like the realm where all of our human crap doesn't matter.
Exactly.
And that's like, it's just like, I don't know, it's really special, and I just, it's seeing the company that a dog can give, like that, I guess, like, like I love language and I love words, but you know, when someone is like sad or sick or something, like sometimes you don't want words, like you just want company, or you want somebody just to be with you, and like just remembering, like, you know, if somebody was sick, just like when we were kids, like Georgia would just come and like kind of just like put her head up, like right with you, and just like be with you, and that kind of unconditional presence or something is like, really, we can learn a lot from that.
We can learn a lot from that. But look, you're being so good with your time, and I'm really excited you're going to play a song. I want to ask you about Not a Trick of the Eye, though, really quickly, because I think it goes with the theme of what I'm discovering with you as a person, how sensitive you are, you know, in a beautiful way, but also a painful way, like I said. And this song, I think, talks a little bit about being sensitive to maybe the darker side and stuff that happens in the world, right?
Totally. Yeah, this song, it does come from feeling sensitive, it comes from watching footage and videos of violence. It comes from watching, you know, not any particular incident, but different incidents of police violence, and not, you know, from a place of, you know, of comfort and relative privilege, and just sitting on my couch at home, and I'm just watching this video, like, oh my gosh, and the, you know, not, it's like there are things in our history and things in our society that are just like, if they're taught at all, they're just brushed over in school, and neighborhoods that we just, you know, the highway is built up here and we'll never see this certain neighborhood in this town.
Cities are being designed like that.
And
it's crazy.
And like the way that, you know, the way that so much is designed and celebrated so that we don't have to see certain things, or like protect ourselves or isolate ourselves. And so this song, you know, I really struggled with how to like who am I in this struggle, and who am I in this as a witness, as a white person, like in a white supremacist like culture, like what am I, who, like, and how can I like comment or be a witness? And I think my first like instinct was to just be that, to be a witness, and to, you know, to like not get myself in the story, but to be a witness, and like outside witness of the story, and just kind of like, and then to say, like, it's not a trick of the eye, like it's not, like, we can't look away, this is not some fluke, this is not something, this is not like a random, like
a one-off.
This is structural. This is in our institutions, it's in our schools, it's in, you know, I did this test on bias at this museum recently up in Cincinnati. It's like the Underground Railroad Museum, and you can do this test on I don't know if it's called like unintentional bias or inside, you know, your bias basically.
Yeah.
And it's so fascinating, you know, whoever walks into that room, whatever background, whatever whatever race, whatever gender, like they're just like, oh wow, I am very strongly biased towards white men.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Sure.
Like whoever sits down at the computer, you know, and takes the test, and we're all just looking up like, huh, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
But we need to be learning this and talking about this and interrogating our biases and interrogating the system that like feeds it and perpetuates it. And so that's it's definitely an enormous thing to try to like face, but it's like, how can I like, and especially being a person on this like of, you know, with white skin privilege in our country, it's like no, I can't look away. I can't deny that this is real.
Right.
And it's challenging. It's amazing that the rhetoric around it all has become so divisive. You know, Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, things like that. And so I really wanted to try to write something that didn't use any of that language, but was just a story.
Yeah.
You know, about and to really center the character in the story, the one. You know, the character in the story who's losing his life, and there's like a family at home, you know, they're like, that's how the song begins and ends. It's just like they said goodnight.
It's humanity.
There was no reason for goodbye. Right. Like there was no reason for this person to lose their life.
Wow.
And like imagining like, you know, another parent or children like at home who are just like saying like, good night, like see you later to someone, and then like for, you know, again and again we see like for no reason.
Yeah. Well, thank you for talking about it through your music. That's your way of changing the world, so thanks for doing that. So yeah, why don't you take us away with a song?
Yeah, I'm gonna play Dogs Run On.
Yes, awesome. Can't wait.
When I get home, we'll go to the lake, watch the show on the water the sunset makes. It'll be a little too cold to swim, but we can sit and think about summer coming. I'll throw skippers and you'll sniff logs, if it's one of those parks where they don't allow dogs. Like old times, we won't read that sign. If no one sees us, there's no fine. I could go out looking in my memory, as if that's where you'd go, as if that's where you'd be. Then I see that shadow leap across the bright white snow, right in the middle of my heart, where I'm missing you the most. You're there forever, you're there right now, sleeping on the porch on the side of the house, stretched out laying in a long line. You must have turned into sunshine, big heart shining through black fur. You know love's not made for words, like you know love is never gone. Days pass away, but dogs run on, and I could go out looking in my memory, as if that's where you'd go, as if that's where you'd be. I see that shadow leap across the bright white snow, right in the middle of my heart, where I'm missing you, wherever you are running now, wherever I go, you're in the middle of my heart, where I'm missing you the most.
Thank you, Maya.
Thank you.
My chills have chills. Thank you so much. Thanks for
Thank you.
coming, Maya.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Wow, I could have talked to you for